Hello, boils and ghouls. Welcome to Watchers Podcast with your hosts, Brad and Coulson.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Why are you doing this to us?
Gives you a home.
I met him 15 years ago. I was told there was nothing left. No reason, no conscience, no understanding, and even the most rudimentary sense of life or death, of good or evil, right or wrong.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Hey everybody, welcome to the show that is like a horror-filled glory hole for your ears.
Okay.
So stick them on in and let us ooze some spooky noise into your sound holes.
Okay.
How was that for an intro?
Where do you get this shit?
I don't know.
You sit at home just writing, like, this will sound fucking creepy.
What's the grossest, creepiest thing I can think of?
It was good. It was up there.
Thank you.
Good. I like it.
Someday we'll have to just cut together all the openings to the show into one long episode.
That's right.
My name is Brad. The other guy you hear talking is Coulson Oliver.
Yes, hello.
And today we have a jam-packed show for you.
Yeah.
No scary story this week.
Okay.
Because nothing spooky happened, I guess.
Yeah, that's right.
No one wanted to share with us.
Yeah.
I do have a recommendation, though, for a show I've been watching. Night Stalker on Netflix.
Don't spoil it.
I won't.
I'm excited.
Yeah, it's a 4-part documentary series about Richie Ramirez,
Yeah.
the serial killer. And it's pretty wild.
Have you finished it yet?
Finished it last night.
Okay.
And I was surprised, at how many people he killed. I didn't realize his numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And when it happened, I thought this was happening back in, the 70s.
Right.
It was, in 85. And, yeah.
Yeah.
The guy's fucking disgusting.
Yeah, he's a nutty one.
Yeah. Yeah. How are you doing today?
I didn't even know about that until you posted about it yesterday. I was like, oh, good. Another thing to watch.
Yeah.
I'm excited for it. So.
Yeah.
I love that shit.
Me too. And anyone who watches that and likes it, check out Don't Fuck With Cats on Netflix. There was another one about the football player, Aaron Hernandez.
Yeah, what was that called? Yeah, it's on there. Type in Aaron Hernandez, it'll come up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you finish all those, watch Tiger King.
Yeah. I still haven't watched Tiger King.
You are the only person left on the planet.
I was very late getting to Making a Murderer too. I was a year behind.
Right.
And I still haven't watched the second one. The one follow-up one that they did.
I like the second part better, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. It was really good.
But I'll get to them eventually.
Yeah.
Night Stalker's at the top of my list because I like that sort of shit a lot more than other stuff. So.
But this is your year of the TV series,
That
right?
is true.
So
It's true.
So you have lots of time to watch these.
Lots of time, yeah.
Yeah. So,
anyway,
like I said...
I am doing good.
You're doing good.
Yes.
I did ask, I guess, and then just continued talking.
I cut you off by going back to the documentary thing, so sorry.
Yeah, that's fine.
You are well?
I'm well.
Good.
Swell, even.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Swollen.
Oof. Okay.
All right. Things have gotten off to a very silly start here at Watchers. Like I said, no scary story this week, but we do have a review of a short called Teddy. Before we get into that, though, you are going to hear from Justin Solman. He's the writer, actor, director, and not only that, he's also a professional wrestler trained by Kane, for any WWF fans out there. And if you've seen the guy, you would be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Because this guy's a human giant.
Yeah, he's big.
Yeah, like if I win the lottery, I'm just going to hire him to come and rock me to sleep at night like a baby.
Yeah, that's right.
He's a giant man. Yeah, so before we get into it, he is going to tell you guys a little bit about the short. It's available on Amazon Prime and on RevealedMovies.com. Here he is.
Hey, what's going on? My name is Justin Sulham. I am the writer, director, and producer of the short horror film Teddy, currently streaming on RevealMovies.com and Amazon Prime. The inception for Teddy was initially that Teddy was going to just be a chapter in an anthology of different horror stories that I wanted to put together. I had been heavily inspired by the Masters of Horror series, of course, Creepshow, Tales from the Crypt, even Twilight Zone. These are all things that really inspired the thought for short storytelling on a more grand scale. So Teddy was supposed to be the first chapter of those things. What ended up happening, of course, was I fell in love with Teddy as a character and thought that maybe there could be more there in terms of creating a feature-length film after the short was completed. But at first, we had to complete the short. So I had the script written, and I had a couple of surgeries lined up, a couple of relatively invasive surgeries lined up. So I square those surgeries away, and I'm in the process of recovering. While I'm recovering, I'm literally stitched up, beat up, sore, and on my computer, hammering out the details of the script to have it ready to go once I'm recovered from the surgery. Then COVID hits, and it hits hard. So this pushes production back, and what becomes painfully clear to me and to my director of photography, Ben Ross, was that we were going to have to shoot this thing with a skeleton crew of 2, him and I, with whatever gear we had on hand, because the rental houses were all shut down. Everything was in lockdown. We were in the peak of COVID, the first COVID lockdown, rather. And we couldn't get experienced talent, which is, to me, never a bad thing, because the 2 young ladies that we got involved, they portrayed Katie and Sarah on camera. They were phenomenal. They stepped out of their comfort zones and did something that they had never previously done before and brought to life 2 characters that previously existed only on paper and in my mind. So I really, am in debt to them and, of course, to Ben for helping bring Teddy to life amidst, the adversity of COVID and everything that went along with it. But we definitely had to think outside the box. Down to production value. We didn't have a budget at all. Obviously I wasn't working. So we had to do the best we could with what we had. So I was like, well, I don't want to shoot this thing in the woods entirely, because that's just, it's not what I wanted to do with it. I wanted an actual house. What ended up happening was when I was out just driving, I wasn't location scouting. I think I was just trying to, get some air. I saw this beat down property. Went, approached the property owner, found out that the property was in the process of being sold, that they had a shack, which is seen in Teddy, on the property that was going to be leveled. And it has since been destroyed. So I asked if we could shoot there. They said yes. They gave me the green light to do whatever I wanted to do to the building. So what you see in the movie isn't necessarily how I found it. I definitely did some renovation work to the property before Ben and I and the actors got on location to shoot. We had a lot of fun. And I'll tell you, blowing a door off its hinges was a lot of fun. It was almost therapeutic in a way. What we couldn't see, though, off camera, was that the front porch that I ran in from didn't exist. It was a piece of plywood sitting on top of a couple of cinder blocks with a hornet's nest beneath it. So it was, instead of running and bashing through the door, what you're pretty much seeing is me actually just leaping onto the doorway, the threshold, and then just blasting my shoulder through it. So we had a lot of fun. And considering the limited gear and the circumstances in which we shot it, I think that Teddy was a success. It was a success in that we took an idea from concept to completion and presented to people a relatively decent product that I have been told by many people is very enjoyable to watch. And of course, I appreciate each and every person that takes the time to watch it. And I appreciate the podcast for having me on. I can't thank you enough for giving me a platform to talk about this film. There is a sequel. There's a sequel that's going to be substantially different than the first. And I'm not one to, try to give too many things away. But what I will tell you is that Teddy really became a proof of concept in a way for what we could do with a physically menacing character with the ability to think rationally, but use his size and strength to his advantage. So I gave him an actual story. I gave him a solid backstory and something that we can lean on and explore in the feature-length follow-up. No gimmicky masks, no gimmicky outfits. He is a character who is worth exploring, and there's a story to be told, and I'm looking forward to telling it. Our hope is that we can shoot it towards the end of summer 2021. I'm, at the time of this podcast, I'm getting ready to go work on a television show for 6.5 months, almost 7 months. So I know that it's not going to be something we can do until after that's done. And also, it all comes down to fundraising, because the budget right now is over $100,000, and I'm going to have to raise that money, which is, going to be a feat in itself. So I've got my work cut out before me, and those who come on board for the follow-up to Teddy, they're definitely in for it too, because we're going to have to do as much as we can, with a small amount, and we just have to make it work. We'll tell the story and continue the saga and keep bringing Teddy to life. The script is at 86 pages right now. I anticipate it'll be at around 100 after I've completely polished it. And I look forward to sharing it with you guys whenever we are able to breathe some life into it. So again, thank you so much for having me on the podcast. I appreciate your time. And I look forward to speaking with you guys again soon. Again, Teddy, available on RevealMovies.com and Amazon Prime. Thank you.
All right, and we're back. So if you guys have a short you want to tell us about, Watchers_podcast on Instagram is the easiest way to find us. First time watch for you for Teddy?
Yep.
I've watched this 3 or 4 times, I think.
Okay.
I really like it.
It was great.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot.
Yeah, it's quick. He covers all the horror tropes, but makes them better in some senses.
Yeah.
Like, the jump scares makes sense where he puts it.
I mentioned to you that it got me. It's I'm sitting there watching it and I'm expecting something and something else happened and maybe jump. Yeah.
I won't spoil too much because I don't know who has seen this yet, but like you said, the 2 actresses in it were brand new to acting. Mm-hmm. It was pretty impressive. They did a good job. Yeah. Especially the girl at the end. She seems like she kind of like did the whole Scream Queen thing pretty good. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah. What did you think of the look of Teddy?
It looked great.
Yeah.
They did almost, I'm not going to spoil anything here, but like the opening shot was like continual shot looking, Mm-hmm. Looked great. It was well lit, well sounded,
considering it's like no budget during COVID, it's pretty impressive.
It's a 20-minute, not even 20-minute,
it's 10 minutes long.
And it felt almost like a VHS type thing to it, it could be put in one of those type of movies, where those directors have their own little shorts.
Yeah, and that's what he says is like how he was inspired by like Creepshow and stuff like that. So yeah, it kind of makes sense. Like this was his short, like a first chapter in a series kind of thing. But
it would fit in, and it was great. It looked great.
Yeah. I like the look of Teddy. Like, I like the burlap sack kind of thing over his head. Reminds me of The Strangers.
Yeah.
And he's a believable big man. Like, when he's picking people up and stuff, it's like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like, bursting through things. It's like, this totally makes sense. Because he's a human monster.
Yeah, he's a big guy.
And I mean that in the nicest way, Justin. Please don't murder me. The music's good. I like the music. Yeah, I have a lot of fun with this. It's short, to the point, but it's like a fully realized story in like 10 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't wait for his like full version of the movie.
Right.
Because he mentions that he's going to be doing like a feature film.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it'll be great.
That sounds like a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would check this out. I'll check this out again. Like, I liked it.
Me too.
Yeah.
And I strongly recommend, if you haven't seen this yet, go watch it. You'll have a lot of fun. And it's quick.
Yeah.
So.
And it's slasher, in that slasher genre, so that's right up my alley.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, it does great.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, you can even watch this while you're having a poop. It's
Yeah,
that
exactly.
short. Like, there's no reason not to be watching this.
Exactly.
So thank you, Justin. Thanks for talking on the show. If our internet wasn't absolutely terrible, we would actually have you on in person.
The worst.
Yeah, we're lucky to be able to use Netflix here, really.
I have to literally wait until... I was telling you, I was watching Soul on Disney+. It took me an hour and 15 minutes to watch 40 minutes of the movie. It just kept spinning, and I was
crazy.
like, fuck this. I'll finish it tomorrow when everybody's sleeping. I cannot... It's awful.
Yeah.
But anyway. One day we'll have high speed out here.
Yeah.
Legit high speed.
Legit high speed.
One day.
Not slow motion high speed.
Exactly.
We have now. All right.
Yeah.
So now we're on to our main event of the evening.
That's right.
The Dentist. From 1996. 5.3 on IMDb.
Uh-huh.
It's available on Tubi. If you want to watch it for free, you'll get a couple commercials, but that's it.
Yeah.
First time watch for me.
Okay.
You?
I've watched it a bunch.
Yeah.
I grew up with this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's bad parenting.
Yeah, it is. Yep.
Yeah. Do you want to give a bit of a rundown for this one?
So it's directed by Brian Yuzna. I don't know who that is.
Yeah. He's primarily like a horror director, I guess.
Okay.
He's done The Dentist 2.
Yeah.
There was a Beyond Reanimator.
Okay.
He's done that.
And yeah, this was from the people who brought you The Reanimator.
Yeah.
So...
makes sense.
Yeah. Acting, we have Corbin Burnson, who plays Dr. Feinstone. Do you know who that is? Corbin Burnson?
No, he looks familiar.
He was, before our time, I think, there was a show called L.A. Law.
Oh, yes.
I think it was in the 90s, maybe even 80s. And he's also in Major League. Have you seen that movie with Charlie Sheen?
Oh, yeah.
He's the second baseman, I think.
I've seen that a long time ago.
So that's where I know him from. But
cool.
Linda Hoffman plays Brooke. Michael Stadvik plays Matt, the pool guy. And Ken Forey is detective whoever. I just have him written down as the cop. So, spoiler alert, if you haven't watched it, check it out. Run time's about an hour and a half. Perfect time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess we'll get right into this.
Yeah.
Okay. So we start off, there's hand modeling going on. A guy using invisible dental tools. And we see the dentist who he's going to fill us in on his story.
Yeah. The opening of this reminds me of the scenes in Sleepaway Camp where the aunt is talking to Angela.
That's right.
Because it's like a white background and it's kind of like dreamy.
Yeah, it's very dreamy. There's opera music, I think, playing. And
yeah. I do like the title card when it pops up. The music that plays with the dentist.
Yeah.
You hear like the drill, like,
that's right.
And the scream.
Yeah. So moving, he's going to fill us in on his story. So it jumps to Dr. Feinstone. He's calling his wife, complaining about a stain that he has on his shirt. And she says, just wear the white one. And he says, I can't wear the white one because I don't have my diamond cufflink. So he's very particular, this guy.
Yes.
He then gets a call from the IRS, and we hear him kind of mentioning, like, hey, it's not my problem that this happened, and so he's in a little bit of trouble here.
Mm-hmm.
His wife then gives him new cufflinks that she was going to surprise him for their anniversary. They start kissing, and he's kind of, like, feeling her up a little bit, and she's wearing a robe, and she's naked under that robe. And he's like, what are you doing? You're naked under this thing. Like, the pool guy's out there.
Yeah.
And then he asks her if she's been smoking. And he's like, I'll have to brush my teeth again. And then as she walks away, he has like some sort of grease on his fingers.
Yeah.
And he looks up and it's on her arm as she's going up the stairs. Now, also, I didn't mention in the rundown here, but this guy is like, he mentions dirt and filth, and he compares, there's a lot of comparing to rot and teeth and things in his life.
Unclean. And...
Yes. So anyway, moving ahead, he goes out and he talks to the pool guy, and he sees that grease that was on his wife's arm. It's kind of all over the place out there, and he leaves for work, and then he stops, almost realizing, like, hey, that's weird. So he goes back to the house and sees his wife giving Matt, the pool guy, oral treats, and he's just staring out the window watching this happen. He then opens his drawer and grabs a gun, and it kind of goes into like a dreamy sequence thing. It almost looks like, I don't know, it's wavy.
Yeah.
It'll go wavy for a second. And he goes out to the pool, confronts them, and he shoots the pool guy right in the head and flashes back to him just watching and realizes it's a dream.
Yeah.
So what's happening outside is really happening, but him killing them did not happen.
Yeah.
So
it's weird how often in movies, like, someone's having sex with the pool boy.
I know.
Like, when someone's cheating, it's always the pool boy. Like,
that's
is this something that happens that frequently in real life?
I don't know.
Like,
that's a good question.
Because if it is, why would I ever get a pool? Not that I don't trust my wife.
Yes.
But if that's what happens.
That's right. Good question.
Yeah.
Yeah, pool people, write in.
Yeah.
We want to know.
Pool people, share your stories.
Yes. So next we jump to the dental office. There's a whole lineup of people that haven't been seen yet. The people at the office have no idea where he is. They're calling his car phone. And we see him, the dentist, Dr. Feinstone, his phone in his car rings. Classic, like, car phone from the 90s.
Yeah.
So yeah, we see it ring, and he's at his house still waiting for Matt to leave. He follows him to the neighbor's house. He's kind of sneaking up, and the neighbor comes out and is like, what are you doing here? So he tells her some bullshit about a party, a surprise party. And, so she's like, okay, I'll be there.
She's like, you were just hiding behind my tree, but I believe you.
Exactly. So he sneaks to the back of the fence there, and out comes the neighbor. Oh, Matt! She's got her fucking dumb robe off or whatever she's got, trying to entice him. So he goes into
like
this
pool
shed thing with this woman. So Matt's just slaying it. Killing game. And then as Dr. Feinstone kind of leans up against the fence, the dog comes out and starts attacking him.
Yeah.
He goes away, the gate gets popped open, the dog comes out, bites his arm, and then he shoots the poor dog.
Yeah.
Killing it. So yeah, now he's at the office, back at the office, so he's having delusions again, it's all wavy.
Yeah, this guy's losing his marbles.
Yeah, he's got a picture of his wife and his neighbor, like the woman.
Yeah.
And there's some, like, it's such a weird picture to have. And, like, Matt keeps appearing in the picture, like, in his pool fucking skimmer thing that they use.
He's in the background.
Yeah. So, yeah, he ends up putting the picture down, and, yeah. Anyway, back outside the office is now we meet a little boy who, it's his first time at the dentist. Little Jody. Mm-hmm. And do you know who this kid looks like? Let me tell you.
Familiar.
I wrote this down. I wrote down he looks like, you know, the turtle from Finding Nemo? That's exactly what this kid looks like.
Funny.
Just got like that because he's like up looking, like a sad dog or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's he takes him into this room. It's all different themes in all the rooms. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
So he's in the rainforest room. He's got like a flower thing around his neck.
Lay around his neck.
Yeah, he's all excited to be there, and he's starts working on the kid's teeth, and he's thinking about his wife, and if I kick her out, she'll take me for everything. And the kid's teeth in the doctor's eyes turn rotten, and he starts like picking at like the filth, the rot.
Yeah, and this is all like being narrated in his head.
Yeah, it's all in his head, and yeah, he's using the scraper explorer thing, whatever the hell it's called, along the gum, and he fucking rips this kid's gum open.
Yeah.
And the kid starts screaming, there's blood everywhere, and the mother picks the kid up, she's like, what the fuck, what's wrong with you? And he's like, he needs to learn to sit still, which I thought was great.
Yeah.
And then he yells at his assistant, says, no more children, that kid's spoiled rotten, we're not doing kids anymore. It was great, okay. So, he goes back to his office, he starts taking pills like crazy, and he starts choking because one of the hygienists come in and gives him water, whatever. He calls his wife, who is smoking, he was right. She tells him if he's having a moment to just take one pill. So clearly this guy has some sort of...
like mental health issues.
Yeah, that she is aware of, and, you know, if you're having a moment, take one pill.
Yeah.
So next he's with a beauty queen, is that what they're called? I don't even know.
Yeah, I think that's what she's called in the movie, maybe.
So she's pretty well set, and then he kind of comes in, and even though he doesn't need to see her, I think the hygienist made up an excuse, like, hey, he's busy, you're fine, you don't need to... And then he comes in like, oh, what are you talking about? She's got a cavity right here. And so she won't do the needle, so she's going to do the gas, so he puts the gas on, and that starts happening.
Yeah.
Now we jump back to where the dog was shot, and the police are there, and they dig the bullet out, and they're doing their investigation. Now, young Mark Ruffalo, did you notice it? Did you see his name in the credits before you, or were you?
No, I didn't notice.
Okay.
But it was funny, it took me a second.
Yeah.
I was like, who is that? And I'm like, oh, that's Mark Ruffalo.
That's him.
He's come a long way.
He sure has. It's crazy, eh? These people, they start in like these horror movies, you know, shitty, quote unquote, shittier horror movies.
Yeah.
They become megastars.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's a agent or something.
Yeah, he's like her agent, I guess.
I think it's agent. So yeah, back in the room, the model, the beauty queen, whatever, she's getting loopy. Mm-hmm. And then I think she grabs his balls.
She does,
yeah. And she says, tells him, if he doesn't hurt her, or you don't hurt me, I won't hurt you.
Yeah.
And then he goes into his dream sequence again and calls her a whore. Like, I think he's picturing his wife or whatever.
Yeah, he is.
Back into he cranks the gas up. And then he's, like, feeling in her mouth, and then he just starts, like, fingering her mouth.
Yeah.
Super creepy.
Yeah. I was watching this movie.
Yes.
And in our living room to our dining room, there's, like, just glass doors.
Right.
And my stepdaughter was sitting in the kitchen, in the dining room, doing her homework. Well, I'm watching this movie, and this is where I decided to turn it off and wait to watch it another time.
You would message me that this would happen. I didn't know what point it was at, but...
Yeah, whenever he has, like, his finger in her mouth and she's, like, sucking on it, it's like a blowjob. It's so messed up.
Oh, my God. Oh, it was funny. Did she watch? Was she able to see, or was her back to the TV and it was just awkward noise?
I didn't know if she was watching or not, but she was facing the TV.
Play it safe. Like, okay, I agree with you.
Yeah.
So yeah, Mark Ruffalo back outside the waiting room. He's annoyed at how long it's taking, and he wants to go in and see her. And she's like, "Hey, you can't go in there, whatever." So he's like, "I'll go to the bathroom then." Where's the bathroom? She points him out. So he's heading to the bathroom, but he's going to sneak into the room, gets caught again, and she points him to the bathroom, which he then goes to. Inside the room, the doctor, he sees his wife in the chair, and he starts kissing her, and she's like, just like Matt, which sets him off, and he starts choking her. and says that death is too good for you. And then he comes out of his dream sequence thing and sees that he's choking the model.
Yeah.
And all of her clothes, like her top's all askew and her skirt's hiked up and her, what are pantyhose? Is that what those are called? They're off almost or whatever. So he gets her up, you know, out of the room and tells Mark Ruffalo, like, hey, you know, she had an affected a gas, you know, you got to get her outside for fresh air. So that he carries her out. He realizes then that her pantyhose are still in the room, and or no, he kind of kicked them aside, and then the assistant went in there and was cleaning up and found them and was like, ooh, like she picked them up and questioned or took them to the hygienist and was like, what the fuck is this? Like,
yeah.
And they were like, it could be anything, you know?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You know what's great?
What's
when
that?
people put pantyhose on their head.
Oh, I know.
And like their face.
Yeah.
Quick little story that's a little off track, but really funny.
Please.
One time at Halloween, my dad did that and then got dressed up as Anna Green Gables.
Oh, really?
Like dress, wig, everything.
That's hilarious.
And then like went running through one of our neighbors' houses. Like that was his best friend, and they didn't know who it was. And they called him, being like, "Some fucking lunatic just ran through her."
That's hilarious.
As Anna Green Gables.
Oh, that's great. That's a good one.
Yeah,
I like it.
So it explains me a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. A little bit, yeah. Filling in the puzzles being built. Whatever.
Whenever they write my biography.
Yes.
Autobiography.
Yeah.
Is that the one I write?
I think, yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yes.
Back on track.
Yeah. Okay, so the IRS guy that phoned him earlier, he's in the office now, wants to get some work done. Steve Landers, who is Mark Ruffalo's character, he comes back in and just punches the dentist, calls him a pervert, degenerate, all this shit, says they're suing him, and the dentist gets up, tells his receptionist woman, send everybody home, he's not going to deal with this shit today.
Yeah.
So, it's jumping ahead now, it's nighttime, their anniversary is happening that night. He's laying out tools in his office. His wife, it shows her getting ready for their anniversary, and she arrives at the office and looking for him. And you hear opera music playing, and she finds him, and it's the new room. It's the Italian Opera House.
Mm-hmm.
So he sits her in the chair, and she's concerned about losing their table at the restaurant. She sits down. He ties a thing around her neck, ties it to the chair, puts gas on her nose, ties her hands up, ties her feet up, complaining again about filth and rot and all this shit.
Yeah.
Says that he'll cut out her tongue, and then Matt wouldn't have use for her. Then he puts in that tool thing that you crank, it like opens your jaw.
Yeah.
And he starts grabbing teeth and pulling them out.
And it looks pretty good.
Not bad, right?
Yeah. Apparently they only had one mouth.
Yeah.
And they were just like switching the teeth out to make it look different.
Yeah.
For each person. Like,
and I will say the thing that really sells this is the noise too. Like you hear the tool grab the tooth and then you see him fucking really cranking it, and it's got that
little pluck noise.
Yeah, exactly. Ugh. And blood, and it's great.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's pulling her teeth out.
Yeah.
Now they're back at home. Her mouth is all swollen. Her eyes her nose is all black.
It's so freaky looking.
It's really gross. The next day, he has her tied out on like a pool chair in like a bikini.
Yeah.
And he's got like a hat over her head. And
she kind of looks like the one from Midsommar, that like deformed face person.
That's right. So the police show up and they ask him about break-ins in the neighborhood and if he knows anything. If he has a gun, he says no. Matt is outside. He's cleaning the pool again, second day in a row. I don't know why that would need to happen, but
Matt's clearly shitty at his job.
Yeah, very shitty. He's using the skimmer thing to get leaves out off the top, and he finds a tongue, and he's like, ugh. And then he goes to Brooke, who's tied up in the chair, pulls the hat off, and we see her swollen. She's like, ugh. It's all goopy and pussy.
Disgusting.
And just gross. So Matt, he starts backing up into Dr. Finestone, who he cuts his throat and then just starts slashing the shit out of him.
Yeah.
And it's like an above shot, and it's kind of just following him as he's backing up, and Finestone as he's moving forward, just slicing and blood spraying.
Yeah.
Every slice is just dumping all over the floor. Pretty cool. So back at the office, we see the neighbor. He had mentioned when he was there that they had to finish a cavity on her back molar. So he gives her a needle. Again, we get the inside shot of the mouth shooting the gum.
Yeah.
With
That's one of the worst parts.
Yeah, it's gross.
I hate that needle.
So yeah, he sticks his needle, and she's questioning him about the dog. You know, did he see anything? He says no. And then he starts drilling the holy shit out of her tooth. This one, compared to like the kid scraping the tooth and the wife getting her teeth pulled and shit, he is using like the biggest drill head he can, and he is
it's so gross.
Scooping around, just killing her tooth. The assistant who's in there with him calls him out, and she's like, what are you doing? Like, you're ruining that woman's tooth. And he's like, I know what I'm doing. I'm a dentist. And then the assistant goes back in and just sends the woman home. Now, this is an enormous plot hole. One, that woman's tooth is completely fucked. Two, the second that fucking numbing shit wears off,
she's going to be in so much pain.
It's the worst. So she sends her home. How? I have no idea.
Have you ever had like a root canal or anything?
I have.
Like that?
I've had 2.
Same. Yeah, that's all I could think of whenever I was watching this.
I want to see, because I've been in the office when he's worked on like my kids and stuff, but that's just like, I want to be in there when he's doing some work.
Yeah.
I can't see. I wish that mirror, the light that they had above you, it was like a little mirror so you could see what they were doing.
Yeah, here's some advice. If you're going to get a root canal, do not watch YouTube videos of what a root canal is. See, maybe I'll do that.
Maybe I'll just do that.
Yeah, do them now.
Does the dentist bother you? Like,
it did as a kid.
Okay.
As an adult, no.
Okay.
Like, I've had a couple of root canals. The second one, I fell asleep while I was doing it. Like, it doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
And you always hear like how scary root canals are. Yeah. They're fine.
I had no problem with mine.
It sucks when the freezing comes out.
Yeah. For
a little while, but
feels tender. He told my face is particularly hard. My one side of my face is hard to numb. So I had one on each side, and he was doing the one, and he said, if you start feeling anything, put your hand up. And I did, and then he proceeded to test me to see. He stuck a thing in and he was like, it was like a shooting pain, like my ears started ringing, and he's like, "Oh, you feel that?" I was like, "Uh-huh." Like, stupid. I said I feel it. Fuck. So I had to get more freezing, but yeah, I was okay. And I should mention that I work nights, so as soon as I got home, I went straight to bed. Yeah. So I slept through that 8 hours of pain that normal people would have to be awake for. So
I went through a similar situation where he started drilling. I'm like, should I be able to feel that?
Yeah.
And he's like, no.
Yeah.
And then he grabs another needle.
Yeah, exactly. Load you up a bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, he comes back into the room, finds out that she sent him home, or sent the woman home, and he fires her.
Yeah.
She questions him about the pantyhose that she found, and she goes to leave, and he strangles her with them.
Yeah.
Wraps it around her throat and starts choking her. She tries to fight back a little bit. She gets a needle at one point. She's like trying to hit him, but he's blocking it. So she's dead.
Yeah.
Now back to the cops. They have ballistics back on the bullet, and they find out that the type of gun used is also owned by Dr. Finestone.
Yeah.
I think they say the James Bond gun or something, the Walter PPK, whatever the fuck. So he owns the same gun used in the dog killing. So, Sarah, young girl with braces on, she's up next to get her braces off.
This girl's been waiting
2 days now
2
at this
days
point
to get those braces off. She's so excited.
So she's up there, they call her up, and then the IRS guy from the day before shows up again, cuts in line, gives her money, says, hey, sorry, Toots.
Yeah.
And she gives him the money back, and he's like, next time, keep the money. And goes into his room. So this guy's a real, creep.
Yeah.
He's a weirdo. He walks in back, and we see the doctor, he's, struggling in the closet. And he's like, just go in that first room there. Obviously, he's hiding the body.
Yeah.
But anyway, tells him to go in the first room. The IRS guy, he's just creepy. He's weird.
Yeah.
He wants
he's slimy.
Yeah. Anyway, the doctor puts the nitrous on him and just turns the nitrous on. No oxygen, so it's just pure nitrous on him. Ties his arms up and talks about, again, decay, being out of control and all this shit.
Yeah, because the IRS guy kind of is like, oh, I'll make a deal with you.
Yeah.
You take care of my problem, I'll take care of yours.
Exactly. So he puts that same thing in his mouth that cranks it, and he really starts cranking this thing a lot.
That would be a perfect torture device.
Oh, for sure.
And it's so gross.
Yeah, it just continually opens your mouth wider and wider and wider.
Yeah, it's like if someone put a vice in your mouth and then cranked it open.
Yeah. So yeah, we hear screaming, and they hear the screaming in the office, and he's fucking really cranking that thing. His jaw is wide open.
What do they even use that for?
I think just so that you can't close your mouth when they're doing root canals or something, because they don't want you to be able to move down.
Yeah.
And possibly have them slip and hit something. That would be my guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's cranking the jaw. The jaw's wide open, and then he tells him, "Get your tongue out of the way," because the guy's trying to block the drill with his tongue, and the doctor starts fucking drilling the tongue. It's great. Another great scene, and just right into the tongue. The hygienist comes by, asks if he's okay, and he tells her that he sent the assistant home, and she's now mad at him for for firing her. Because they're shorthanded already.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, there's guys in there with his fucking jaw wide open. So back at the cops are at his house. They find the blood splatter from Matt. And they go to the backyard. They find Matt laying there. Go into the house, and they find, jars of baby food, which he dips his finger in and then licks.
Yeah.
You can clearly see it's baby food. What are you doing? But he tastes it anyway. He goes upstairs and finds his wife tied up. Her face is obviously still fucked up and gross. So back at the dentist office, the hygienist finds the dental assistant's purse, and she goes looking for Alan, Dr. Feinstone, and she finds the IRS guy with his mouth wide open, and he again mentions filth, smell, as he's behind her at this point.
Yeah.
Grabs her, bashes her head into the wall, and then lays her head down. She's rocked or dazed or whatever, and he takes an empty needle and sticks it in her neck, and he mentions the blood will go, or the air pocket will go to the brain.
Yeah.
And you see it go up her neck. Pretty cool.
Yeah, pretty good effect.
Yeah, again, for such a B-ish movie, shittier, straight to VHS movie type thing. Looked pretty good. So Sarah, at this point, the braces girl, she finally gets sent back. A little bit nervous. You can tell she's kind of looking around the waiting room. She's the only person there. This is weird. Everything that's happened is weird.
Yeah.
Weirding her out. She finds him, and he's washing blood off of his hands. I don't think she sees it because his back's to her.
Yeah.
But he is washing blood off his hands. At this point, a lot of police are at the house, and they get the plan. Hey, he's going to be at his office. We'll go get him in his office. So inside the office, he's now got her braces all off, and she's smiling. Her teeth look great, but in his eyes, he sees the rot, and the fucking wavy camera thing happens again.
Yeah.
He pulls out a gun and points it at her, and sees his wife screaming, and And as he, like, comes to, he realizes that it's her screaming, and he's like, oh, what am I doing? And at this point, she, of course, fights back, knocks the gun away, gets away from him. Knocks him down, gets out of the room. He comes out looking for her, apologizing. And then he says, you can't hide, not from your dentist. And he's going room to room looking for her. And we see her hiding spot. It's in, like, a closet. And then... And then the dead body tips onto her, and all I could think of was, like, Chunk in Goonies when he's in that freezer thing, and that dead body, like, keeps falling on him. That's what it was like to me.
Exactly it.
Yeah. So Sarah, she gets out of her hiding spot, and she finds the hygienist who is dead, and she finds the IRS guy who's still alive, but his mouth is wide open. She unties him, and then the dentist comes in, finds her. She again escapes into the opera room, blocks that door off, and then goes to go out the other door. He, of course, meets her there, backs her in, sits her down, points the gun at her. She says, please, I won't eat candy. I'll brush 3 times a day. He says, pretty please? And she says, or she confirms, 3 times a day, no candy.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, that's all you had to do, I guess. The police then enter the office. They hear crying. They find Sarah. She's okay. Outside the dentist's office, we see his car driving away. And back inside, they're questioning Sarah. And at this point, I think the receptionist woman's like, he was such a great teacher. And they're like, teacher? So they're like, okay. They go to cut to the school. We hear drilling and screaming, and he's working with a bunch of young dentists, and they're all students, and he then tells them all to extract the teeth. And they're like, what? And then he pulls out a gun and starts pointing it at everybody, and he's like, extract! And, he's seeing all the people that he's killed there, like the assistant and, Matt's there or whatever.
Yeah.
He then shoots a trainee, a dentist trainee, whatever the hell they're called. And the guy lives and only shot him in the hand or arm, I think.
Yeah.
The police, they bust in, they start chasing him. And he's hiding at one point, and he hears opera music. And he's like, hey, he goes through, and some woman on the stage singing opera. So he walks up to her, and he reaches out. And it's a lovely opera tune, if that's your type of music, and then it just turns to like a screechy and turn, and it's his stupid wife with her fucked up face still, and he just drops down to his knees. The police come in, they're like, okay, we got him. Now it's him inside his padded cell. He's still talking dentist talk.
Yeah.
2 guys come in, put him in a straitjacket, push him into a chair. And we see his wife again. She smiles. Her face is now normal, but her gums, or she's got no teeth.
Yeah.
So she smiles and starts drilling on him.
Yeah.
And that's the end. So I guess that ending is a dream?
Yeah.
Very weird.
Yeah, I assume.
Why would they do that? Why would they put him in a straitjacket? Like same punishment you did to people, you get done to you?
Yeah.
Very weird.
It's like, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
But maybe in this universe it does.
Exactly. So yeah, that's the movie.
Yeah. It was a lot campier than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to go for like a more serious tone. But overall, this one's pretty silly.
Yeah.
Like, it was fun.
Yes.
I liked it.
I'm glad that you liked it. I was wondering how you were going to feel about it because it being a first time watch for you.
Yeah.
25 years old now at this point. For me, I mean, I probably watched it in 96. I mean,
yeah.
It's one of those straight to video ones. Hey, new movie, cool.
Pretty cool they only shot this in 18 days.
18-day shooting day.
That's amazing.
Crazy. Super quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Body count is low.
Very low.
It's only 3 people, the hygienist, the assistant, and Matt. Mm-hmm. That's it.
Yeah.
And a dog.
Yeah, everyone else is getting fucked up, but they're not dying.
Yeah, the IRS guy, as far as we know, he's alive.
Yeah.
Even though he's His tongue's got holes in it, and his jaw needs fucking wiring shut.
And the student at the end, like, why not just kill that guy?
Yeah.
Like, just add to your body count.
And they had, I read something that they had another kill, a housekeeper.
Oh, okay.
She had shown up to the house and saw either Matt or the wife or whatever, or both, and falls into the pool and drowns.
Oh.
They cut that out. I don't really know why.
Yeah.
But it's whatever.
Yeah. This is one of those ones where you really need to suspend your disbelief.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's not much story, really, at all. It's just him going nuts.
Yeah.
And everything's happening at this dentist office, and no one else is, like, catching on.
Yeah.
But other than that, I thought it was fun.
Yeah. And we mentioned, like, the tooth shit, like, the inside of the gums and stuff. It looked good. You know, as good as it could for such a low-budget movie.
Exactly.
But, you know, the drilling of the tooth looked great. The sounds, the everything was pretty cool.
It was. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite kill?
Probably injecting the air.
That was mine, too.
Yeah, that's funny.
I liked it.
Original.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the air bubble. You get to see it going up her neck. It was neat.
I would feel like shit.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Least favorite kill?
Probably the strangling.
Yeah, that's what I put too.
Yeah.
Because Matt's was pretty cool.
Visually, it was cool.
Yeah, with the blood. Nothing make you jump, or anything, I should say?
Nothing at all.
Yeah, me either. I don't even know if they really went for anything other than...
Maybe the dog barking.
The dog barking.
A jump scare.
Well, you know what, though? They let up with, like, dog's POV.
That's true.
So that kind of took that away.
Yeah.
The only one I could think of was when she was hiding in the closet and that stupid assistant fell into her.
Yeah.
That maybe you would have been like, oh, man, but it stunk.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's all I have. Do you have anything else you want to mention?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Oh, no, I do have one question for you, actually.
Go ahead.
If you were going to remake this movie today, who would you cast as the dentist?
Ooh. I could pick anybody?
Alive or dead. Anyone at all.
That's a good question. Oh, you know who I'd pick? Willem Dafoe. Were you serious? You're going to pick that too?
I had the exact same answer.
Holy shit.
I even wrote it down. If this was remade, Willem Dafoe playing the dentist.
Wow, what are the odds of that? Holy shit, that's crazy. I wonder how that... Well, that's weird.
Well, clearly this has to happen.
That's right. Yeah, I don't know. He's got that kind of...
sinister face.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, him or Gary Busey.
Gary Busey, that'd be a good one too.
Mickey Rourke would be funny to play the dentist.
Yeah, Mickey Rourke. Yeah, there's a bunch.
Or Danny Trejo.
Danny Trejo. Yeah, that'd be good. Oh, yeah.
And Danny DeVito.
Yes.
All right. Spooky, scary, terrifying.
Now I'll put it as spooky. When I was a kid, I'd probably put it at scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think spooky as well, but it would really depend on how much you hate the dentist.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't like going to the dentist and you're hearing the drills and seeing the teeth get worked on and the needles and, like, all the dentist tools being laid out, you might find this one a bit scarier.
Yeah.
Luckily, that's not one of the things I'm scared of.
Unfortunately.
Definitely sharks.
Yeah. 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 On to ratings?
Yeah.
How many teeth do you give it? I don't know.
I give this movie 7.5 pulled teeth.
That's exactly what I have.
Yeah.
7.5.
That's, yeah.
I'm glad.
We're on the same page today.
Yeah, I'm glad you liked it. I was worried because it was like, watching it again, even my sister, she was like, that movie's not really the same as it was. I'm like, I enjoyed it still. I think it's fun.
Yeah. I like the weirdness of it.
Yeah.
It's right in my wheelhouse of really strange.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned earlier there is a dentist part 2.
Yeah.
I have seen that one. It's been a very long time because I actually own The Dentist, but I don't own part 2. They're impossible to get.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to watch that one again just to refresh and be like,
I think it's on Tubi as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll do that.
You can stream it for free.
Yeah, perfect. I'll do that.
Yeah.
It's been a long time.
Maybe that'll have to be a review.
Yeah, down the road. I kind of hope not. Just from what I'm remembering, I remember it being shit. But who knows?
We haven't had great luck with sequels.
That's true.
Sleepaway Camp 2 just recently comes to mind.
But you know what? You posted on Instagram like, hey, and people were like, oh, it's my favorite of the... I'm like, holy shit.
I know.
A lot of people liked it.
Josh Gilstrap, he was not happy with me not liking that movie. So, sorry, Josh. But yeah, that'll do it for this week. If there's a movie you guys want to see us review, if you're listening on YouTube, comment below or send us a message, like I said, watchers_podcast. And, we'll see you next week. Bye.